Anxiety sucks ass. I think that's something the majority of humanity can agree with. There's a big difference between some of the natural stress that comes into anyone's life and then huge episodes that absolutely debilitate someone and leave them with their hands mentally tied. Varying from gnawing, just ill feelings throughout the day to full-blown episodic breakdowns, anxiety can affect people in a variety of ways, all of them pretty shittily. If you give a casual Google search of the words anxiety and video games, there's really not much scholarly research done into this phenomenon, like there is with video games and anger management or video games and depression. Mostly it's just blogs and editorials, and they're all pretty split. Half saying that video games are great for anxiety, and half saying that they're terrible for anxiety and they make everything worse. One thing I noticed is that amongst these blogs, a lot of the games that were discussed were action-oriented games. First-person shooters, platformers, adventure games, things of that nature. The most chill games on that list were things like Tetris and Firewatch. While puzzle games and walking simulators can be quite meditative, there's still a level of tension, competitive, and mystery to them. A kind of game I didn't see on those lists were world-building games, creative games. Games like Minecraft, Animal Crossing, Roller Coaster Tycoon, resource management, and building games. And in my mind, those are the best games for dealing with anxiety for a couple of reasons. Number one, you build routine and establish habits in-game. Gaming can be a cornerstone in anyone's everyday ritual and plan. For instance, I really like to start my day off with 3 rounds of Overwatch before I go to work or the gym. But in world-building games like Stardew Valley and Slime Rancher, you need to build your own routine and schedule in-game. NPCs, special events, and even some resources revolve around the day-night cycle in these games. And this encourages players to really schedule and plan how they're going to spend their time to achieve all their objectives. Anxiety is a hell of a destroyer of plans, either by putting your scheduled day into complete shambles, or putting you in a state of mind where you can't even begin to think about a rough idea as to how your day is going to go. World-building games not only offer the player a world where there are consistent and predictable rules to follow, but it can also be used to better your personal scheduling and planning abilities. 2, these games give you complete control over everything. World-building games place a lot of emphasis on controlling things. The environment, your resources, your time, your own player, sometimes other characters in-game, really everything about the game. If you take it a step further and throw in some cheat codes and mods, and if you're advanced enough in computing to code the game, I mean, you can really go crazy. While it may seem a little bit like a bandage, the lack of control someone can feel with anxiety is just shit. It just sucks. So allowing even the briefest of respites by immersing yourself in a world where you can control literally every single aspect of the environment can be just a really good and healthy break for some people who've just been having a rough time. 3rd, you're not just controlling, you're creating. There's a great line in the musical Rent that goes, "The opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation." And while that may seem a little bit overdramatic, a lot of people like to think of mental illness and disorders as sort of a battle within themselves. And creative outlets are very often some of the best ways to conquer these sort of internal battles. And that's why I think the ability to create and build in games such as Minecraft, Roller Coaster Tycoon, SimCity, and even stuff in like No Man's Sky is really important in the player experience. This is more than just having control over an environment. When you start building, you really start putting yourself into the process, and you turn these mundane and unremarkable individual resources into something with your own personal stamp on it, something with purpose, something with meaning, be it a functioning structure or just something you're, building for fun. And these games emphasize control and predictability, and these are things that are great for helping alleviate stress in the short term. But when the player starts creating something, that's really when the nature of the game changes. World-building games are meant to give players maximum control, but the game doesn't really push the player to be creative in any specific way. This is a level of player agency that's important when thinking about anxiety, because very often when someone's suffering from anxiety, it feels as though they are robbed of agency, robbed of control, robbed of their ability to influence a situation and be productive in it. The chance to create something in a game is a chance to contribute and a chance for self-expression free from the judgment of the world. And whether that judgment is real or just imagined, it doesn't matter. You're still free of it. It's a way of working through your own mental roadblocks, and it's a moment when you start pushing back against anxiety. 4. Potential for building stuff with friends. Throwing multiplayer into the mix, it doesn't change the dynamic of a lot of world-building games. I think it just makes everything a lot better. An aspect of anxiety that is terribly ironic is that for me, it always closed me off from other people, including some of my closest friends and important support structures that were put in place to help me in instances like this. Yet one of the most effective ways of sort of working through any episode of anxiety I was having was to talk and reach out to other people. Part of the reason why I think it's sort of hard to reach out to other people in a state of mind like this is because you're also thinking about other sort of like shitty aspects of just real life. You know, maybe like a stressful job interview or assignment, or you had an argument with someone and that's still hanging over you, whatever. You don't really want to go out there because you feel you'll somehow run into that negative energy. But in a video game, in a safe digital world that's controlled and predictable, if you can meet up with some of your support network and some of your friends in that environment, I mean, that just sounds great. You're more sheltered from other sort of negative external stimuli, and you're with some of your best friends. What's not to love about that? And you can all build a house together. How does that not sound awesome? 5. These games are chill as fuck. These games are really just peaceful. I mean, if you look at the color palettes, they're all very bright and soft and just sort of warm and friendly. Even the soundtracks are usually very peaceful or very happy. It's just all around just a chill, fun time. Okay, well, aside from stuff like that, or if you choose not to make it a chill time, but that's your choice. The peaceful environment of these games just can't be ignored. It's just calming, it's just relaxing, and that's definitely an intentional design choice, and one that I am really, really thankful for when I'm feeling stressed. Sometimes I like just to start a new Minecraft world, maybe download a new skin pack and just sort of faff about in there building stuff, and other times, and this is like the only thing I play this game for when I'm feeling stressed, I'll fire up No Man's Sky, plot a course to a random planet, and just sail through the stars. It's a nice time, actually. These are just a few ways that I think world-building games are great for battling anxiety. If you have any personal experiences with this, have another game you'd like to recommend, or just have any thoughts on this, please, if you're comfortable with it, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. Please like this video and subscribe to GamerGent's YouTube channel for more weekly content like this. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and Tumblr at GamerGent. This is Jaime from GamerGent. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Level up.